Boom. Ethereal synchronicity 444. Shooting to you at 4:44 p.m. in Manchester. Just about to flip to the 4:45. What we're saying, people, live and direct. Shooting from my place, my space, my zone to wherever you're at. Direct from your work or your home. Spitting them bars anyway. So, what we're going to speak to you about today. Well, I'll just get to you straight off the bat. We're going to speak to you about Mr. David Goggins today. And also, that will probably receive an honourable mention, is a Mr. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, due to the fact that he shares the same birthday as Mr. David Goggins, which is the 17th of February, people. But for David Goggins, anyway, it's 17th of February, 1975, and for Michael Jordan, 1963, if I remember correctly. I think I could drop something down there, but let's not distract myself. That's easy to do. But this isn't the time for that. David Goggins is Mr. Hardcore, Mr. Let's Get It Done, Mr. Handle Your Business, Mr. I got here at 44444. Got the Great Attractor on Eastern Horizon in Sagittarius, 14 and 15 degrees. Jupiter's even on the Great Attractor right now, so you know it's time to get it in. And we've got the midheaven moving through Libra at each degree. You can see the 8th house degree, now the 25th degree of Cancer. And just other small notable points because they're fixed stars. Okay, people, anyway, you should be able to hear me this time. I think this is a second take because I muted the mic like I do. But, you know, we all do these things. Oh, so anyway, happy Aquarius full moon to anybody who has been taking note of that. Let's see if I can hear myself any better here. Don't know what's going on. Levels. Right, I'm just gonna like record this and hope to the good. Don't know why I can't hear myself. Check. Check. Ah, okay. According to these, is battery, but they're a funny set of phones. I think anyone who knows about them knows they got this old power switch and situation where you have to charge them up and they're wired. But anyway, we work through. We get there in the end. Can I get this situation to work? I think that should be okay for the time being. Right. Okay, let me do this again. And then maybe I can do that. Yeah, with a little bit of patience and persistence, you'll eventually get to your destination and your target. So anyway, for anyone that was able to bear with me through that little short excursion of me sorting out sound and vision, we're talking to talk about David Goggins. And for anybody who doesn't know, David Goggins is essentially wouldn't say the world's strongest man or even the world's hardest man, but he did write a book called Can't Hurt Me in 2018, and he's basically known for his endurance, like his feats of just extra level tenacity and endurance. He was a former Navy SEAL, and since then he's become a motivational speaker. He's also basically known for taking parts in ultramarathons, triathlons, and yeah, he's from the school of mental toughness and mind over matter, which actually reminds me, I was listening to a song today from a couple of guys, and they're going to take that on board. The song was called Mind Over Matter, by the way, just so it makes sense. But yeah, David Goggins, yeah, basically is like one of the motivational guys, because I say that in a sense to listen to a few people, or quite a few people in different levels or different regards of it. I mean, say one of the most famous would be like a Tony Robbins or somebody. Not listened to any of him for a while, but anything from Tony Robbins to, I don't know, Infinite Waters, Ralph Smart. I mean, anything, like, you know, it depends what floats your boat, whatever like hits the spot. If you get what I'm saying, it can be wide ranging, different kind of inspirational people. Although I've just named 2 Pisces, I've just noticed there. Yeah, so maybe that's Jupiter in the 12th. Pisces, Jupiter's true home. But that's to those who know traditional astrology. And let me have a look. So, David Goggins, from what I can remember, because I'm kind of shooting this off the gun now, he is the only man to have done the... I've written it down here. I know what it is. Basically, he's done 3 particular entrance tests and exams for, like, I think one was for the SEALs. Yep, certainly. One was for the Air Force, and I believe the other one may have been for like the army or something. I'm gonna actually check them out right now because I want to actually be sure. But they've all got like mad abbreviations like ASFAP and all this kind of thing, and buds. Yeah, David's an army man. 1 second. Boom. Here we go. So yeah, David Goggins initially applied to join the US Air Force Pararescue. Failed his ASVAB, as I was saying. Then he later became a member of the United States Air Force Tactical Air Control Party, known as TACP. Goggins served time with TACP and left the US Air Force. After 3 attempts, Goggins succeeded in graduating from Budge training with Class 235 in 2001 and was assigned to SEAL Team 5. Goggins served in Iraq in 2004. Goggins graduated from Army Ranger School with the distinction of enlisted top honor man. So what I'm trying to kind of get at here, right, is that it's not the fact that you know, do something. It's the fact that if you struggle to do it and keep doing it until you can overcome it, it shows the true resilience or mental toughness and just the ability to continue and go on. Now, what I say, yeah, it's Nipsey Hussle's birthday. To anybody that knows of or remembers or has heard of at this point, Nipsey Hussle, aka Ermias Askedom, which was his real name, given to him by his mother. Yeah, it was talking about his name meaning is it God? That something to do with rising in God, and it's quite synonymous actually, because I did a video speaking to Lewis Hamilton's tattoos with Still I Rise. Nipsey anyway, but that's the next thing. But yeah, Nipsey's seriously inspirational to me because he's left so much music and such a legacy behind him. I swear down, he was staring in the rear view, as Tupac would put it, when he's writing all of this stuff and all of his artistry, and seeing how the big over picture would be in his long term. So anyway, Goggins, February 17th, 1975, 44 at the moment. So seems to be a thing and doing a lot of 1975s at the moment. 44, the channel, Ethereal Synchronicity 444 or 444, or you know, still got the 4. So you got Goggins with the Air Force, with the Navy, and with the SEALs. Yeah, so you can see he's basically a big time serviceman. But if you can see here the kind of feats that he's achieved, I couldn't speak to them off the top of my head because I probably set this video up about a week ago, but I've had tribulations in getting it sorted out with carnivals, neighbouring building sites, all kinds of things. But it's all about like not giving up, persistence. So it just speaks to everything that you have to go through to get to where you're going. And believe me, it's like I've had to be my own cheerleader for quite some time, because no one really wants you to win but you in real life if you have been in the trenches. So, you know, you got people who are kind of there, but bear in mind they're in the trenches, are in this battle themselves, and that's just some real rap, right? So I'm just seeing some numbers here. He placed second in a 3-day 320-mile race, cycling 261 miles in 2 days on a rented bicycle. Yo, the man's just next level. Just having a look here. Over the next 2 years, he competed in another 14 ultra-endurance races with top 5 finishes in 9 of them. He set a course record at the 48-hour national championships, beating the previous record by 20 miles with a total distance of 203.5 miles, and earning himself a spot among the top 20 ultra-marathon runners in the world. So basically, right, we're talking about elite endurance athlete, right? I think you get the point. Banged on about it enough. So what I'm trying to say here is this guy is like, he's seriously like cream of the crop, creme de la creme at what he's been doing for a little moment. But I mean, let me see if I can find him. Not sure if I've got him. This might be it. Here we go. Right, anyway, all that copyright infringement stuff, like, none of that is intended. So yeah, you know, this is his site. This is some of the stuff. Well, our site connected to an article to him. There we go. His book, Can't Hurt Me, 2018. Some of the stuff that he speaks to. There's actually a quote on here or something like, yeah, what he says. But I'm not even going to bother to read that. But I just remember it being funny because it was synonymous to something what Michael Jordan had said on his own page, or someone had said about him. But no, this isn't the page I'm looking for. Is it this one? I think it is. If I'm lucky, me and my 1,000,001 tabs open. Might just be for the good cause of being able to hit you like this. Ding 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 ding. I think this is the one. You're gonna see the man that David Goggins used to be, and this is where you're gonna be like, okay then, check him out. This was Goggins before Navy SEAL. This is Goggins as a Navy SEAL. Yeah, and I believe he doesn't mind being called David Goggins, just not Dave. So Goggins or David Goggins, I will be calling him through this. Yeah, this guy is basically seriously well and truly that guy. So it's quite funny because Aquarians and radical and drastic changes are something that kind of go hand in hand, I have to say. I kind of find that something that they share in common with the Scorpio sign square to it. So real-time chart, let's jump up, see where we're at now. Boom, here we go. Right, I've got a few charts probably lined up from earlier. Let's have a look. David Goggins I've got here, no birth time, so we've got 12 p.m. just as a, you know, auxiliary birth time. But we definitely know his, well, as far as we know, public record is showing that his birthday is 1975, February the 17th so far. So what I've done is I've produced what we call a sun on the first chart, which just puts the sun sign, which is basically the 12 o'clock time, sun sign, on the ascendant. I've done an Aries chart, which puts Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac, if you do it from the Western philosophy of springtime and the solstices and the equinoxes. So that's one way you can do a chart without a time, showing there's more than one way to skin a cat, so they say. And then, so yeah, you got Aries chart. Oh, then you got the whole sign chart. So the whole sign chart is, you know, that is in Aquarius. So we put Aquarius at 0 degrees at the beginning of the sign on the eastern horizon, and then every cusp also has the beginning of the sign. So 0 degrees Pisces, 0 degrees Aries, 0 degrees Taurus. If you follow through, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn. Yep. So which one do I want to work with for the time being? I'll go for the Aries chart, because if I go to the Aries chart, and then I show you this Aries chart, so what we're looking at 2 and 4, right? Yeah. So one's Michael Jordan, one's David Goggins, and I've got Michael Jordan's birth time, so you've got the planets relatively where they should be, but we've changed the ascendant and the on the cusp, but I'll be able to show you what it is I'm trying to get at with the fact that they're born on the same day, 12 years apart. So anyway, I did write some notes for this. Let's see what I can do, because there's a lot to see in his chart, to why he is the man that he is, but also why he has the philosophies that he has and where he's coming from. So if you want to speak about where he's coming from, you could look at his moon in Taurus. Now, the moon does move very fast, and with a lot of people being born on the day where the moon changes sign, you couldn't say where the moon is, but David Goggins, I can securely and safely say he's born with the moon in Taurus if he's born on that day. And also, another note of the past, the south node of the moon is in Gemini at 6 degrees. So yeah, it comes from some kind of I want to say communication, education. That's the situation of his background anyway. How well it worked out for him is another story. It's actually retrograde nodes, but the nodes are always retrograde, so that doesn't really mean that much. But yeah, what I'll jump to is his north node and the Neptune, and they're actually around the degrees of where I started this video. So yeah, videos, the 12th house and Neptune, films, being this kind of thing. It's actually around David Goggins' north node, and I believe this actually speaks to his faith, which he's supposed to follow, and it has been to get him through all of the things that he's overcome. So anyway, David Goggins, Sun in Aquarius, Moon in Taurus. They're the obvious points. Let me see what else. Oh, so what I wrote about those is I think his determination can be noticed in the fact that the Sun and the Moon are both in fixed, what you'd call fixed signs. So Aquarius is fixed, Taurus is fixed as a second sign. Basically 2, 5, 8 and 11 are fixed. So Scorpio and Leo being the other fixed signs, but in the order would be Leo and Scorpio in that order, then following Aquarius, followed on by Taurus. So the Sun and the Moon being two principal key planets in a person's nature, making up for mainly, like say, the identity and their inner feelings and world and disposition. David Goggins is quite stoic, I would say, naturally in his disposition. So that's something that could speak to why he has stuck at the things that he's tried to do and come back to do them over and over again, and with eventuality persisted. Now, one reason why I thought that he's had to try these things over and over again, actually. Yeah, man, I hate writing things down sometimes. It's not that I hate writing them down. It's that the order and the sequence flows better when I don't follow it so statically. Sorry to go off track. Not off track, but what I'm going to speak to here is all of his retrograde planets. So you've got Saturn retrograde, Pluto retrograde, Uranus retrograde, and Mercury retrograde for David Goggins. And what I've come to find out when you have so many planets retrograde, which is an experience that I live with myself, actually. There's so many things not really written for like retrograde planets. I think I own Erin Sullivan's book on retrograde planets, which you can just see over there on the table. And yeah, like I say, there's talk and the logic and would speak to the energy going inwards before it goes outwards. Now, that doesn't really sound very full on of how to explain it, but the point I'm making with that is that it's a difficult energy to manage to start with. What I've come to find actually is that you have to set your own rules, your own principles, your own dynamics, and you don't really follow the outer structure. You create your own inner structure and rules in regard for the world. Now, it can have a twofold effect. It can work for you in the benefit that if you establish, I don't know, positive kind of framework, then you can succeed and excel. But if you cater to maybe more detrimental framework, then that could also kind of be the existence that you live with having a lot of planets retrograde, because it's just like you're not from this planet in this time zone living on this same clock, so to speak. I always think of the astrological wheel and dial like a clock, and yeah, a lot of planets retrograde definitely speaks of a different energy or a different way to look at things, or a viewpoint or interpretation. So it's quite important actually me talking about these retrograde planets, because Mercury retrograde, which happens 3 times a year, to those, or maybe 4 actually, to those who maybe don't know and those that do know are aware of. It's the most common planet to go retrograde in the sense of, you know, people talking about it. The nodes generally retrograde, so that's not what you would count. The moon and the sun do not go retrograde by default, and everything else is a bit less infrequent, or a bit less frequent, I should say. So why is it quite a pertinent thing for David Goggins to have Mercury retrograde? Well, I'm going to show you here why it's good to have all the bits of the kit. You can see my ephemeris has been living the life with the dog ear corners. That just means I've been doing some good work, I guess, at some point. 75 February. Now, I know what it's going to say. It's basically going to say that David Goggins was born about the same day or the day after. That's March. Here we go. You know, when you go one page too far. Yeah, it's got to be this page. Let me get in it without messing it up. Well, basically, let's just get it. Page don't want to come to me. It's because I've got one hand on one finger, one hand on. There we go. There we go. Got it. 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 Persistence. 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 Ah. Right. 17th. Right. So the exact date that I see it going back at is the 19th. So 2 days before David Goggins, so 2 days after David Goggins was born, Mercury actually starts to travel direct. What I think this actually means for David Goggins is that Mercury is a pivotal planet in his situation, and he actually does speak to his education situation. So if you notice here, Mercury at 10 degrees Aquarius with the RX in red, retrograde, actually makes a trine, 120 degree aspect, so give it some orb, 124, 120 degree aspect of a trine, which creates a triangle, and you can see the grand trine actually in David's chart. So that's 3 trines, all in the same element. So one's going from Pluto in Libra at 8 degrees to the south node in Gemini at 6 degrees, and then that follows all back round to this particular Mercury. So I'd have to say that this planet is very fundamental, and then this planet even makes a sextile, a little bit wide but still with an orb, to his north node as well. So fundamental to who he's become, his mindset, and that's why I believe he's like mind over matter. He knows about having the mentality. Now, to have Mercury in Aquarius would just make you what they'd like to say an individual or a unique thinker, or yeah, at least thinking off the cuff, maybe a genius thinker. Many different ways it can express itself, so to speak. But it's definitely about having a mindset that, one, is kind of a little bit fixed, 2, a bit ahead of time and revolutionary with the sign of Aquarius. So Aquarius is a fixed sign, deals with future based thinking, likes to work on logic and reason and ration, which is air, kind of working at its best. So all of these kind of things are definitely like what David Goggins has had to kind of like get his head around and really like come to the fore and make the difference with himself and his life. Once he was able to get control of his Mercury and his mind, and I believe he's tried many things to do this, he was able to really change his life and overcome things that you wouldn't imagine possible and achieve great feats. But this aspect to his south node in the trine, I would say that it was easy for him, or difficult for him with Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, but a trine where this was a path that was just naturally destined and aligned for him to take. And the reason I was speaking to his faith before earlier on about Neptune and the north node is that actually has Jupiter and Venus very tightly conjunct. Yeah, very tightly conjunct, 22-23 degrees depending on his birth time for the Venus degree, and that is showing that the Neptune, I would say, that is in Sagittarius, so they kind of disposit each other. Venus is very strong in Pisces traditionally, Jupiter is strong in Pisces traditionally, Neptune is in Sagittarius, which would be strong in Neptune in theory, although you're talking about a modern planet in a traditional system. That is a strange argument that someone would actually say, you know, you kind of got to look at that. So what I'm saying here anyway, that this whole spiritual element of the 12th house Pisces stuff, now don't think of it as house, because it's not its exact house, it's definitely the signs, and then the spiritual element and the intuitive element, and yeah, you definitely have to say that there's a higher mind or thought at play with Sagittarius. So you're adding these aspects together, there's definitely some kind of element of this being a significant feature in David's makeup. The Mercury trine, so let's see, I can see it, Mercury trine, the Pluto, that would make for an indomitable mindset once it gets set on something with logic and will. Pluto is very, very hardened in its sense of digging deep to the deepest of depths of core and overcoming the psychological challenges that lie within self and within others. It allows you basically to have that X-ray scanner to all that is subversive and under the currents of basically the human workings. It's kind of like, yeah, the deepest kind of infraskeleton of a structure and how it works psychologically on that level as well. So it's basically like, yeah, it's a deep planet to have in connection to Mercury, where it's in Aquarius, where you'd be thinking quite differently maybe to the run-of-the-mill average level of thought. David Goggins, by his own admission, says that he wasn't a very good student, very difficult school life for him, and that he struggled to read and things like this. So this is a man that's gone on to do amazing things and even found a way to get a book written. So also shows, what I can see here that makes him probably very determined is that he has Mars in a sign that's, Mars is considered as exaltation. Exaltation being Capricorn for Mars. Mars is actually the ruler of Aries, but it supposedly performs very, very well in Capricorn because it allows the Saturnian energy of Capricorn to structure and consider its actions and use its energy wisely, which is like the all signs of the goat, Capricorn, wisdom. You've got Sagittarian wisdom, which is a kind of wisdom, and you have Capricornian wisdom, which is also another kind of wisdom. Jupiter and Saturn making them the the interpersonal planets. Right, so I wrote down a whole bunch, but like I feel like I'm just flying through it. So let me see. Right, okay. So I'll just run through the aspects. Oh, so by the way, although this isn't going to be strictly the 30-second video that I end up uploading, because I had a little bit of a buzz inspiration to do something today. 17 to 1975 adds up to 32, giving David Goggins a life path number of 5. And when I did Lewis Hamilton's video, I didn't say it, but I did notice it, that 17 again, being his date of birth, being 7-1, and it was 1985. That added up to 31. So that's the 31st video. This would have been the 32nd video. So a life path 4 and a life path 5 in succession. In regards to natal chart reads, need to get more into my numerology as time goes along, and I'm actually quite into it, but at a point where I'm confident to exercise it and give some directions with it. Scanning the notes, Mars in exaltation. So right, what did I see? Okay, Mars sextile to Jupiter and Venus. This would give him not necessarily a desire for competition, but it definitely give an expansion to his energy. And yeah, reputation actually, and standing with it being Mars in Capricorn, I've wrote here. So yeah, he's known for his endurance. Capricorn, Mars, endurance, Saturn, stamina speaks definitely to this, with the influence of Jupiter making it even more expanded as a. So sextiles give you the, here we go. So this kind of shows you it. It's not necessarily such a natural gift, but if you apply yourself for the sextile, the opportunity that arises from it, it's like it's even better to channel than a trine sometimes. With a trine being a gift, it's like there's less control or conscious thought over it. But with a sextile, you have to actually apply conscious effort into the thinking of doing what it is that you want to achieve where the sextile is concerned. So Mars sextile Venus conjunct Jupiter could be a very beneficial aspect for David Goggins. I've put Pluto sextile the North Node. Oh, so here we go. It doesn't show up as an aspect on here, but yeah, you can see 8 degrees Libra, 6 degrees Sagittarius. Yeah, so that sextile would say to me that he has, and let's see what I've put here. All right, okay, that's the note above it. Opportunity to use transformative skills to assist his greater purpose. Yep, the Mercury trine Pluto, mental depth and fortitude, uber penetrating mind, transformer of mental processes, motivation. Here we go. Pluto square Saturn. So is Pluto here at 8 degrees, squaring his Cancer here at 12 degrees. Breaking established limitations and fears. So the established limitations and fears of either planet actually, but Saturn, let's say, in this situation, and Pluto forcing them to be kind of pushed and broken and stretched. So I've also put Mars square Chiron. Here we go. So Mars at 19 degrees and Chiron at 20 degrees in Aries, actually. What I spoke to for that. Drastic and radical actions tempered by Mars in Capricorn, which would help, equals tension between the physical action and the healing of the self-identity, which is Aries in Chiron. So basically changed his life and his identity by using his action orientated will and drive of Mars energy in Capricorn with the self-identity energy of Chiron, which is known as the wounded healer, which just want like now referred to as a sensitive energy point. But yeah, what's the word? Mythologically, it's referred to as the wounded healer. So what else have I looked at? Yep, spoken to the grand trine / kite between his Mercury, Pluto, North and South node, and I've spoken to his Neptune North node conjunction. So yeah, I think I covered all the aspects pretty much and said everything that I was really aiming to get at in terms of what astrologically is showing up for David Goggins. And yeah, oh, sure, there's an aspect between so he has Sun trine Uranus. I'm not even sure if I've wrote this. Yeah, here we go. Sun trine Uranus, but it's also sesqui square Saturn. So Sun trine Uranus equals innovative identity with added depth and detachment equals freedom aspect. Added depth and detachment, right? So the depth and detachment is actually a contradiction of Scorpio, of how it can be so deep but yet so detached and clinical, and very clinical and detached by nature is Aquarius, and these energies are actually in a trine. Now it's an out of sign trine because it's 5 degrees for 4 degrees orb. Actually, yeah, it's exactly 4 degrees orb by the look of it, but the time of birth for the middle day. But the situation wouldn't be a proper trine until the sun went into Pisces, because it's the faster moving body of the two. When we say the sun, we really mean the earth, just for those who are really confused by the geocentric perspective of astrology. But when that got to basically 2 degrees, so 29,0012, it would be an exact 120 degree aspect with this planet here at 2 Uranus. So what I also want to speak to is why he's an excellent strategist, long-term, long-distance endurance person, because I am very aware that the fixed star Princeps lies at about 2 or 3 degrees Scorpio, and that is known for its ability to strategize and be victorious in long-term battles. And basically, it just lives in the ins and outs of basically gaining strategy and winning. So David Goggins really lives that life because it's in aspects with his sun which he identifies with, so it's part of his being, and with it being a trine, it's like a natural gift that he has. So yeah, I'd speak to that. I see a semi-square here, so yeah, that's the Mercury. Nope, Mars. Here we go. Mars and his North Node. Right, yeah, there we go. 6 and 19. It's making sense. It's about 43 degrees or so. So yeah, I mean, Mars is definitely part of his destiny, and it would have been awkward for him to start with, but he's found a way to engineer it into his life and make it become one of his better known features, essentially. So yeah, I think I've covered most things. Oh yeah, the sun's disposited by this particular Uranus in modern terms, and will be disposited by Saturn in traditional terms, and he does speak frequently to his family in his past of what made such a big change in who he has become and what made him who he was. I also see the number 22 degrees, like I did in Lewis's chart, at least once. So depending on where this Venus falls and his time of birth, that could be a 22 degree master number situation. David has got to the top of what he does. Alright, gonna wrap it up, people, I think. So yeah, it went a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but because I prepared the notes and what I was saying, I couldn't go that far, of course, no matter what I did, because I had a structure and a guideline in this particular case. Now, yeah, I wanted to say it's been a great day. Stand in power to Nipsey Hussle, Ermias Ascadon, and any of the other ancestors and anybody watching over, even to Toni Morrison, who's a writer that I don't know so much about, but coming to know more about as time's gone along. But it's all about inspirational people. And it's actually quite funny because as time goes along, I'll do more features and speak about different individuals that have meant something, or even groups and parties. Don't know, the moon's in Aquarius, transit moon that is, so that's maybe why I'm speaking of groups and parties and radical freedom fighting type of characters. Astrology definitely has a Uranian bent to it and an Aquarian bent to it, as well as a Geminian and Mercurial, or even a Virgoan one with all the details. I don't know, I like to speak to the traditionalists and the modernists in terms of astrology. There's so many schools of thought. But what have I been doing so far? I've stretched myself, was getting as far as like an Instagram. Jumped up on the Twitter. So Instagram is esync444 astrology. Twitter is at esync444. Facebook, Tonrose, TONNROSE. So I mean, I'm out here on all of the major platforms if you really want to get at me, or hit me up for something. I'm open to doing consultations and things like that in time coming up in the future. Happy to do recordings and send them off via email, take payment via PayPal, things of that nature. And yeah, I just want to say love, peace, blessings, guidance, and stay positive. Stay doing whatever your task is to come here and your purpose to fulfill. Most people may not know that yet. Some people may never know that. Sounds like a bit of a Baz Luhrmann bar, coming up to 40 minutes in the video, and it was talking about being 40 and where you would go from there on. Now, if you're lucky enough to get that far in life, it's a blessing in itself. But where do you want to be? And if you have the time to actually make a plan or a game plan or a structure towards it, what would you do? It's better to kind of think it through before it happens, if you have the opportunity to, but still you got to live with the twists and the curves and the ebbs and the flows of life, right? Enough of the philosophizing. I love y'all. I really do, with my heart of hearts. And thank you to each and every one of you who've been helping support me and on this journey. I wish you the best, and get at me, drop a comment, holler at your boy.